My name is Nassime Saps.
Man, that explains us, really explains us. The spokesperson says that statement comes after the government looked at several data sources other than this tape, although they will not tell us what those data sources were. With us now, the physicist, Michio Kaku. He is the author of Physics of the Impossible and is about to explain to us exactly what happened. Thank you for coming.
Glad to be on.
Help me. You've gone point by point by point.
Frame by frame, I've gone through the video tape.
So you stopped this video and you looked at frame by frame by frame, and what did you learn?
At first, I thought, oh my God, an unauthorized launch of a ballistic missile. This is scandalous. This
Or
is
an accident.
Or an accident, right?
Yeah.
But then I said to myself, wait a minute. When you go frame by frame, something is wrong. First of all, the object is not accelerating. Rockets have booster rockets that take it to 18,000 miles per hour. This thing is cruising at a constant velocity. Second, it's changing direction slightly. Ballistic missiles never change directions. Third, it's going in the wrong direction. We fire from Los Angeles, Vandenberg. We fire east to west to Kwajalein in the Pacific, sometimes north over a polar orbit. This thing was going northeast in the wrong direction. And also, even though it looks like it's going vertically up, maybe you're looking at it edge on. When you look at an airplane going edge on, it looks like it's going straight up when it's actually cruising very gently. Not only that, contrails expand rapidly at the base. The older it is, the larger they expand.
Like the contrail right there.
Right. So it looks as if that thing is moving away from you, right? Actually, it's probably moving toward you.
Huh.
It's an optical illusion caused by the fact that we look at the bottom, we think the bottom is closer than the top. What actually,
it's fatter.
Yeah, because it's fatter, because the contrails expand. Now, there are airplanes from Hawaii to Phoenix that go right over Los Angeles at around exactly the time which is in question. So it's probably a commercial airliner that is cruising very slowly, and the killer is, this is now the smoking gun. We have radar analysis of the entire area. We see no evidence of a fast-moving object. All we see are airplanes. That's all we see in the area. So why doesn't the Pentagon simply come out and say what we physicists believe, that it is an airplane? And the reason is it's always hard to disprove a negative.
Right.
It's always easier to prove a positive, but to disprove a negative is very difficult. You can't rule out this possibility or that probability with a certain % error, right? That's why the Pentagon is being very coy about this, I think.
Well, you know, my problem with all this from the very beginning has been we keep track of every single aircraft and every part of our sky at every second of every day. Every 4.3 seconds it updates.
Right.
So we know where every jet is every 4.3 seconds. So can't they look at this video and go, oh, this was United 1231 en route from... I mean, that would help. Why put us through all of this?
Well, it's hard to disprove a negative. In other words, the radar...
But if you were the FAA, you can say, all right, we know exactly the time this was taken because it went live on their air. They can say this was this flight. Why won't they?
I think they need a new PR director.
Okay.
I think that's what they really need, because they really need a dose of reality. You know, the Pentagon has to interface with the public.
Yeah.
The public is the taxpayer. They pay the bills. And the taxpayer has a right to know what is going over their skies. And also, jet pilots also weighed in on it. They say they saw nothing unusual. But how can you say that when there was this gigantic contrail in their own backyard?
Yep. Why wasn't everybody on the coast screaming?
The answer is jet pilots look down from above where it looks horizontal and ordinary. We look at it from the bottom up, and we see these gigantic plumes of gas shooting straight up. But somebody up there looking down sees a horizontal plume of exhaust. Therefore, that's why the pilots say, I saw nothing. There's nothing out of the ordinary there.
It's a jet, isn't it?
It's a jet. In other words, you look at all the dots, and you take the simplest line that goes across all the dots, and that's a jet. Sorry for all you conspiracy buffs.
Well, I'm sure they were having fun with it. We were enjoying the video, but I can tell you're very smart. You know exactly what you're talking about. But at the end of this program, I'm going to show them what it really is. It's aliens. But I'm going to show them how it works.
When we physicists look in outer space for alien life, we don't look for little green men. we look for type 1, type 2, and type 3 civilizations. A type 1 civilization has harnessed planetary power. They control earthquakes, the weather, volcanoes. They have cities on the ocean. Anything planetary, they control. That's type 1. A type 2 civilization is stellar. They've exhausted the power of a planet, and they get their energy directly from their mother star. They just don't get a suntan on a weekend. They use solar flares. They use the power of the sun itself to energize their huge machines. Eventually, they exhaust the power of a star, and they go galactic. They harness the power of billions of stars within a galaxy. Now, for example, Buck Rogers would correspond to a type 1 civilization, a planetary civilization. Star Trek and the Federation of Planets, who have colonized a few star systems, would correspond to a type 2 system. And the Empire of Star Wars would correspond to a type 3 civilization. Now, what are we on this scale? We are type 0. We don't even rate on this scale. We get our energy from, not from stars or galaxies, we get our energy from dead plants, oil and coal. But we can calculate when we will attain type 1 status in about 100 years. And I am privileged to be alive in the most important era in the history of the human race, the transition from type 0 to type 1. And so this transition is perhaps the most important transition of all time. Some people don't want it. They fear this transition because this transition is to a planetary civilization tolerant of many cultures. This transition is also the most important because it's not clear if we're going to make it. So in other words, perhaps they didn't make it in outer space. If one day we have starships and visit other star systems, perhaps we'll find planets whose atmospheres are irradiated or whose atmospheres are too hot to bear life because they did not make the transition from type 0 to type 1. Now, by the time you're type 2, you are immortal. Nothing known to science can destroy a type 2 civilization. Even a supernova cannot destroy a type 2 civilization. They'll either move their home planet or they'll simply stop the nuclear fires from exploding. And by the time a civilization becomes galactic, they may in fact have the ability to control the fate of the galaxy itself. By the way, if you're type 3, you will explore the galaxy not by sending Captain Kirk on an Enterprise hopping from star system to star system. That would take millions of years to explore the Milky Way galaxy. The way you do it is you would create a robot, have the robot land on a moon, it would create a factory. It would make millions of copies of itself on this moon, which is quite stable, and send these to other moons. Then each of these would create another factory. Starting with one robot, you would have 1 million, then 1 million million, and 1 million million million, until you had a sphere expanding at the speed of light, containing trillions of these robots. They would land on a moon and simply wait for a type 0 civilization to become type 1. Now, where have you seen that before? This is the basis of the movie 2001. The movie 2001 is perhaps the most authentic rendition of the encounter of a type 0 civilization with a type 3 civilization. Now, at the beginning of the movie, Stanley Kubrick interviewed many leading astronomers and scientists, and we laid out this scenario that the most efficient way to colonize a galaxy is to send robots, have them land on the moon, and create a factory, and then they would shoot out and colonize other moons. But at the last minute, Kubrick cut the first 5 minutes of his own film, and the film became super mystical. But the next time you see that movie, realize that the monolith on the moon is perhaps a remnant of a passing type 3 civilization waiting for our type 0 civilization to become type 1. So again, the generation now alive and our grandchildren are the most important generations ever to walk the surface of the earth. We are the generations that will determine whether we make the transition from type 0 to type 1 or we destroy ourselves because of our arrogance and our weapons.
And many times people say, Professor, you're wrong. You're wrong because the aliens are already here. They're not in outer space. They've already landed with their flying saucers. So I tell them, well, how do you know? And they say, well, they've been kidnapped by flying saucers.
Now, let's talk about that. So the angels come in every single shape and size, you know. So some angels look exactly like a man in every way. You can't tell the difference. Okay? Some angels look exactly like a man except they're like 20 feet tall. Some angels look exactly like a man except they're 12 feet tall. Some angels look exactly like a man but they have wings. Some angels look like, okay, so he made the angels look in all different shapes and sizes. Some angels he made to look exactly like animals. Okay? But then some angels he made to look like spaceships. Some angels he made to look like tires. And some angels he made to look like balls with the black hole shit in it. So that fucking thing that you saw, that was the fallen angel that you saw. Okay, and that was its real shape. Okay? Some angels look like cars. Some angels look exactly like machinery. Okay? So he made angels look animalistic. He made angels look like people. And he made angels look like machinery and technology. He made them look like machinery. He made them look like spaceships. Okay? Some angels he made exactly to look like a spaceship. Okay? Some angels he made exactly to look like a flying saucer. Some angels he made to look like a donut with spikes coming out of it. Some angels he made to look like the one that you were talking about, like this ball with like holes and shit, moving and shit. Okay, that's a living creature. That's a living being. Okay, what you saw, that was a fallen angelic being. That's a devil. That's a fallen angel devil. Okay, God made that thing to look like that. Okay, so that's its real shape. So, okay, so some angels look exactly like a machine. Okay, or like a car. Okay, some angels look exactly like a car or like whatever. Like they're not machines, they're living creatures, but he just made them to look like, he made them to look like that. Okay, why did God make them to look like that? I don't know. He just did, okay? I guess he made him to look like that because I don't know why he did. You have to ask him. I don't know why he did that. But he did it like that, okay? Maybe he did it because that was like, you know, their purpose to be whatever. I don't know. So when you see these like, when people see these UFOs that look all fucking crazy, okay, they look like all spiky with lights and shit, like, that's a fucking fallen angel. That's a fucking devil. Okay, that is not like somebody built like a machine UFO spaceship and made it look like that. No, that is not. That is something that God made as an angel to look like. And so there are angels that look like technology, and there's angels that look like machinery. Okay, and there's angels that look like spaceships, and there's angels that look like mini little planet things, and there's angels that look like all shapes and sizes. Cars, angels look like cars, angels look like horses, angels look like tires, angels look like wheels, angels look like spaceships, angels look like flying saucers with spikes, angels look like ball planets with things in them, like how you saw. Angels look like a person, angels look like a person with wings, angels look like a giant, angels look like a giant with wings. Okay, so angels come in all different shapes and sizes, and all the angels, they can change their shape. Okay, so not only did God make some angels to look like machinery, like the UFO you saw, that was the devil, that was a fallen angel devil. Okay, so not only did God make some angels to look like machinery, the angels can also change their shape to make themselves look like a person. And you wouldn't be able to tell that that was an angel.